All aboard for Disneyland, the station master cried. Our train is just about to start. There's lots of room inside. Check all your cares and worries. There's still time before we leave. And be prepared for anything, for this is Christmas Eve. The station master smiled. You did not need a second look to notice his resemblance to a certain Captain Hook. Two little dreamers hurried up. Their names were John and Jane. "Oh, sir," they said to Captain Hook, "is this the Dreamland train?" Smilingly, he took their hands and led them safe inside. And then he bowed and said, "I hope you have a pleasant ride." What happened next was something that was odd beyond compare, for with a jerk, the train took off and sailed into the air. Below them, with its sheet of snow, the ground lay dazzling white, bathed by a frosty winter moon that made all clear and bright.
"Oh, look!" cried Jane. "There's Santa Claus with all his reindeer, too."
Santa turned and waved to them as on his course he flew. It was a thrilling thing to see, a sight both fine and grand.
"Do you suppose," said John to Jane, "he's going to Disneyland?"
When Santa cracked his big long whip, his reindeer faster sped, and soon they all had disappeared, far out of sight ahead. "Fasten safety belts," said one. "We're just above the town." And then, before they were aware, the train had settled down.
"Disneyland at last!"
cried John.
"Just like the picture show. And there is Main Street, USA, where we have longed to go."
Soft strains of music, laughter, and singing filled the air, and happy throngs of people were dancing in the square. They saw a splendid Christmas tree of noble breadth and height that seemed to pulse and glow as though endowed with living light. And as they gazed at it in awe, it was not hard to tell the glow was made by fairies, all friends of Tinker Bell.
Christmas tree, a fabulous storybook land. It's a thrilling sight of living light, a vision fine and grand. If you should take a real close look, you might be able to tell that the little lights are made of sprites, all personal friends of Tinker Bell. And they fly about, and they're flitting in and out, and they sparkle here and there, while the tinkling sound that each one makes blends into a Christmas air. Now the fairy tale folk who are dancing there, you may never be able to see. For the only thing real in storybook land is the storybook Christmas tree. Yes, their living Christmas tree.
Among the dancers in the square, were some the children knew, like Sleeping Beauty and Snow White and Cinderella, too. When Peter Pan and Wendy danced, they barely touched the ground, and old Geppetto did a solo, waltzing round and round. Pinocchio came clattering by, somewhat grotesque and jumpy, and all the Seven Dwarfs were wildly whirling, even grumpy. And interspersed among the folks that frolicked to the band were Indians and animals that live in Disneyland. The children saw a crocodile go spinning on his tail. A monkey from Adventureland sang like a nightingale. A Main Street horse car trundled past. They watched it open-eyed. The horse who should have been in front sat comfortably inside. Hello, Hansel. Hello, Gretel, someone said to Jane and John. Looking down, they saw they had their peasant costumes on. These were birthday gifts from Uncle Jack in Germany, and often as they'd worn them, they were proud as proud could be.
Did you know that we had them on?
Asked Jane with puzzled smile. Well, no, I didn't, John replied, but here they're right in style. Then suddenly there was a great commotion in the crowd, and to their ears there came the sound of honking, clear and loud. A motor roared. The crowd fell back. An auto came to view. It was of ancient vintage, yet looked quite bright and new. And who was sitting at the wheel? Who else but Mr. Toad?
Pep, pep for you,
he loudly called.
Come on, let's hit the road.
The children gaily climbed into the front seat, which was wide.
Oh, this is wonderful,
said John.
I've heard about your ride.
Tonight it will be different, said the driver with a grin.
You'll get a ride you won't forget.
And we slammed the gear shift in. They careened along the main street with a rattle and a roar, as though all rules for driving were something to ignore. Toad's wild, eccentric steering gave the children many a flutter. It seemed they rode the sidewalks just as much as in the gutter. The wooden Indian outside the old tobacco shop yelled out in fright and left his stand in one tremendous hop.
What speed?
Cried Toad, his eyes aglow.
What super power?
The hand on his speedometer read 15 miles per hour. And this is what the children saw on Main Street, USA. Quaint shops and buildings, all exactly as in Grandma's day. The happy shoppers hurrying by in Christmas Eve confusion were dressed in styles of yesterday to heighten the illusion. It filled their hearts with wonder and delighted them to see a glimpse of what the world was like in 1903. The clanging of cash registers, a happy, busy hum came from the densely crowded aisles of the town's emporium. They passed a real old ice cream store where sodas sold for nickels. The market handled everything from licorice drops to pickles. And in the corner drugstore was the same nostalgic hustle as when men sported handlebars and women wore the bustle. The penny arcade looked as though it would be lots of fun. They wished that they had time to see the Nickelodeon.
Watch your driving,
rolled a cop.
Are you out of your wits? Get off the street before you scare the horses into fits.
The children's last impression just before they reached the plaza was of Santa with his boots off, dozing on a dim piazza. Fantasyland is straight ahead, cried Toad. Let's join the fun. There's Sleeping Beauty's castle. The dancing has begun. They crossed the park-like plaza, then a drawbridge that was down, into a courtyard that was like a medieval town. Excitedly they climbed the steps into the castle hall, which was bedecked with mistletoe for Sleeping Beauty's ball. It was a vision of delight, a memory's book to keep, yet all the lords and ladies there were dancing in their sleep. No dancer spoke, and not one laughed as they went gliding by. The orchestra snored blissfully and played a lullaby. And as they left, the children saw Toad turn and softly say, "A Merry Christmas to you all. May you awake someday." And soon again they chugged along in Toadie's motor car.
Let's see the Snow White ride, said Jane, if it is not too far.
You may not see what you expect, warned Toad. It's apt to change on Christmas Eve, so better be prepared for something strange. They turned into a gloomy cave, which filled them both with doubt, and Jane reached for her brother's hand as all the lights went out. They heard a blood-congealing laugh. And then they felt a jar, as though some heavy object had landed on their car. Just then they came around a bend, where torches lit the scene, and turning, saw the Snow-White Witch perched on their limousine.
Don't be afraid, my dears, she said. It's only me. Come join our little gathering and see our Christmas tree.
They saw a lacy stalagmite, agleam with precious stones, round which a group of witches sat and chanted, Jingle Bones!
Jingle, jingle bones, jingle bones, jingle all the way. Screech and groan and jingle bones on the witch's Christmas day.
Jingle, jingle bones, jingle, jingle bones, jingle all the way.
Jingle all the way, screech and groan and jingle bones on the witch's Christmas day.
We're wearing holly wreaths on our pointed hats, flying round our tree with our bands, our bats. Bells on broomsticks ring,
On broomsticks ring,
ringing spirits light.
spirits
Join the chorus as we sing a Christmas song tonight.
Jingle, jingle bones, jingle bones,
Jingle, jingle
all
bones,
the
jingle,
way.
jingle bones,
Screech
jingle
and groan
all
and
the
jingle
way.
bones on the way.
Screech and groan and jingle, jingle bones on the
Witch's Christmas Day. Jingle, 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 jingle,
Jingle bones, jingle bones, jingle all the way. Jingle, 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 on a witch's Christmas day. Jingle, 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 jingle,
It's Hansel and Gretel, croaked a hag, and pointed with her stick. It's you she means, said Mr. Toad. We'd better move on, quick! Come back, she shrieked, as off they roared through tunnels dark and spooky. I only wanted you to have this lovely Christmas cookie. A close shave that, said Mr. Toad. She can't forgive you for the time you stuck her in her stove and slammed the iron door. But I'm not really Hansel, sir, cried John, and she's not Gretel. But Toad winked knowingly and said, You certainly showed your mettle, but let's forget the past and tend to matters more at hand. For far ahead I seem to see the lights of Frontierland. It's snowing now, said Mr. Toad. I urge you both to savor the falling flakes, for you will find they have a dainty flavor. They caught the flakes and sure enough found out that he was right. They tasted cool and crisp and sweet, and not too sweet, just right. And when they first saw Frontierland, they cried out in surprise and clapped their hands in ecstasy at the sight that met their eyes. Around them was a wintry scene, but one without a shiver, although the snow lay on the ground and ice was on the river. The riverboat lay at her dock, all gay and colored light, and from the Golden Horseshoe, Christmas carols filled the night. Ho-ho, said Mr. Toad, let's go. I think it would be nice to find out if there's any thrill to driving on the ice. They whirled about the slippery ice. It was exciting fun, and many were the things they saw as round and round they spun. Two skating moose went gliding by as light as featherweights, and bears with mufflers round their necks were doing figure eights. They just missed Lupert Sue and Pecos Bill, and made them zip into a line of Indians who were playing Snap the Whip. And when on one last mighty whirl, the car went out of hand, they skidded through an arch on which it said, Adventureland. And so, where seconds earlier they had been by frost bepearled, they now were in the dark and steaming jungles of the world.
Oh, tell us, Mr. Toad, said Jane. Do you think it can be the creatures of the jungle also have a Christmas tree?
Ride this jungle launch, said Toad, and search until we find just how the beasts keep Christmas Eve, where jungle rivers wind.
Through darkest Africa I strayed to see if I could find just how the beasts keep Christmas Eve, where jungle rivers wind. I sailed through tropic forests deep, whose mystery darkness sealed, until the foliage parted, and a breathless sight revealed. Within a clearing stood a tree that tapered to the skies. It was composed of orchid blooms, lit up by fireflies. And round this tree of bloom and light, in simple reverence stood all animals, both large and small, of jungle and of wood. All claws were sheathed, no fangs were bared. Each was the other's brother, the tiger and the antelope lay down beside each other. And all around the heavenly scent was wafted on the breeze, while little choirs of nightingales sang in the darkened trees. My kingdom come, my braving prayer, and silently stole away. All will be well on earth, I knew. All will be well someday.
The beauty of this jungle scene brought a teardrop to Jane's eye, and seeing it, Toad said, "Come, this is no time to cry. There's still Tomorrowland, you know, before our tour is done." "Oh, yes," cried John. "The rocket ride, they say, is lots of fun." And so once more, Toad's autocar the distance quickly spanned, and soon they rattled through the gates of brave Tomorrowland. "You'll observe," said Toad, "that where the rocket ought to be, you see instead before your eyes a futuristic tree." A streamlined Christmas tree it was, of burnished plates and shone with some illumination and keen brilliance of its own.
Oh, Christmas tree, how brightly you are shining. Oh, futuristic Christmas tree of ultimate designing. Your silvery plates are neat and trim. Proudly you stand streamlined and slim, and may your splendor never dim. Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree.
Oh, Christmas tree, in silvery beauty glowing. Oh, futuristic Christmas tree, please tell us where you're going. Without her space you seem into
your fingers pointing at the moon.
soon. Christmas tree, oh Christmas tree, Christmas tree, Christmas tree, Christmas tree.
Oh, Christmas tree, so confidently gleaming. Oh, futuristic Christmas tree, a symbol of man's dreaming.
Your message is so plain to see.
Now through eternity, a Christmas time there'll always be a Christmas tree. A Christmas time there'll always be a Christmas tree.
I think I like it best, said John. To me it seems to say that all on earth may yet be well some not too distant day. Now let's go on the rides, cried Jane. We've still got loads of time. But Toad just shook his head and said, I heard the town clock chime. I also fear you've missed your train, and I am out of gas. The time has come for us to part. You must go home, alas. But suddenly he paled and looked as though about to swoon. Hiccup the cookie witch, he gasped. You better do it soon. Hansel, Gretel, shrieked the witch. I found you two at last. Stomp up, cried Toad. I'm those kids. And then things happened fast. A trap door opened on the tree, and out popped Tinkerbell, who wafted them both safe aboard as quick as you can tell. And as the streamlined tree took off, they heard the witch cry,
Lucky! I only wanted them to have this lovely Christmas cookie.
When John and Jane awoke next morn, with eager eyes they sought the precious heap of Christmas gifts that Santa Claus had brought. What joy and gay excitement then! They cried and laughed with glee. And then they saw this sign their dad had hung upon the tree. Today we're going to Disneyland, it read. And so they knew the dream they'd had on Christmas Eve, on Christmas Day'd come true.